Kim and I met about 7 years ago and hit it off right away. We both come from the Midwest and are God-fearing Christians who prioritize God over everything else. We used to love going to church every Sunday and dreaming about our future. I was a successful engineer with a bright career ahead, while Kim sold accounting software for a big tech company in Atlanta. Before we tied the knot, my folks bought me a sweet 3-bedroom house as a graduation gift. They were loaded and wanted to spread the wealth. Most people wait until they are dead to pass on their stuff, but Mom and Dad were different. They shared their blessings while they were still alive and enjoyed the happiness it brought. Kim and I tied the knot over 5 years ago and have been living in a perpetual honeymoon ever since. Our sex life was amazing, making love at least 4 nights a week. We were soulmates and our friends were jealous of how close we were. We were so in love with each other that we were blessed to have 2 gorgeous blonde twin girls. After they were born, our lives completely changed for the better. We dedicated all our time to raising the girls and making sure they had a happy home. Our lifestyle might seem dull to some. We ate at home most nights, went out on Fridays and Saturdays, and attended church on Sundays. We weren't into partying or keeping up with the latest trends like others our age. Kim always dressed modestly at work and at home. When it came to anything sexual, it was just between us in our bedroom. Our relationship was all about trust and being completely open with each other. We never kept anything from each other, which really helped build a strong foundation for our marriage. Kim was the type of woman who needed to show her love, and I loved the way she would touch, kiss, and hug me affectionately. We loved sharing our emotions and just being with each other. Raising twins can be tough, but I enjoyed spending as much time with them as I could. The twins were a handful, but they were worth it. Kim was stressed out, but I was glad to step in and help out whenever she needed it. We had a great partnership and always sorted things out before things got too tense. Life with Kim and our twin girls couldn't be better. A week before the big exhibition, Kim was told she had to participate in the 3-day event because others got sick with the virus. They had to put Kim in the show last minute. She tried to get out of it, but they were desperate and she had no choice. "Baby, I'm really sorry about this. I hate leaving you and the girls." For 3 days, I called my boss twice trying to get out of it, but he said we all needed to be at this event. You know how much I hate leaving. I watched her pack for the trip, reassured her that would be fine for a few days and that we'd miss her, but we were there to support her. I helped her with her luggage and carried it to the limo the company had hired for the ride to the airport. Like I said, we had a perfect marriage and I trusted her completely. I've never seen her flirt or act anything other than loving. Man, my wife and I were totally open with each other in our marriage. We shared everything, especially our love for our kids, and did everything together. So when I got a text from my buddy Greg that shook me to the core, I couldn't believe it. It was the second night of the show when I got a message from Greg, who was at a cybersecurity event in Atlanta. He asked, "Hey David, how's your weekend going, mate?" "I'm having a blast with my girls. Kim's at the exhibition and I'm hanging out with my favorite ladies. Why aren't you here?" "Hey, there's a security conference happening this weekend. You mentioned Kim was at a trade show, do you know which one?" "Oh yeah, it's in Atlanta this week but I'm not sure of the name of the exhibition. Her company is showcasing their products at the convention center." "Why do you ask?" "I'm out to dinner with my group." "Wait, what are you saying?" Greg sent me a message with 2 photos and a video. I was terrified when I saw the first photo of my wife in a strange outfit I've never seen before. That dress was the shortest thing I've ever seen, and the plunging neckline was showing off her huge boobs like damn, I didn't even know those puppies existed. Her hair and makeup were on point, she looked flawless and absolutely stunning. Honestly, I've never seen her look so hot in my life. When I saw the first pic, I was like, no way, that can't be Kim. I thought it must be some lookalike or something. I chuckled to myself thinking, man, I wish Kim would dress like that one day. But then I stopped laughing when the next pic came out, a close-up of. She was sitting real close and kissing on Jonathan, one of her bosses that she works with. I was just sitting there, shocked and frozen, not even blinking. Then, the next photo pops up, another close-up of her smiling and gazing into Jonathan's eyes. My heart sank when I saw that, but I tried to tell myself there had to be a good reason for it. But then, a few minutes later, the next message comes through, a short video of my wife kissing Jonathan, with her arms around his neck and his hand on her boob. That's when my mind just exploded. Man, I was just crushed when that happened. Tears were streaming down my face from the pain, my heart was racing, and I felt sick to my stomach. Then I got a message from a friend asking if I was okay and what to do. They wanted to know if I could see her at that moment. I replied saying I was going to call her right away and check on her. I dialed her number, but it just kept ringing and then went to voicemail. I left her a message saying we missed her and wanted to chat to make sure she had a good night. I called Greg and told him I tried to reach her. He asked what happened and I told him she had left. She took her phone out of her purse, checked the caller ID, and then put it back in her purse. Man, I can't believe it's her. I mean, I've never seen her act or dress like that. David, I never realized how attractive your wife was. Sorry, that's not what I meant. It's okay, Greg. Thank you for sharing this with me and not hiding it from me. You're a good friend. I'll handle it, and you don't need to get involved. Try to avoid running into her. Let me know if anything else happens, but don't waste any more time. After her, I'll sort it out on my own, mate. Are you gonna be alright? Nah, I'm far from it, but I know what I gotta do and I'll handle it. Still in shock and it'll take me a while to wrap my head around everything, but you know I will. Thanks again, mate. No worries, I got your back. Love you, buddy. I'm here for you, take care, Greg. Thanks again. I poured myself a stronger drink and sat in the dark living room, trying to figure out how my whole world fell apart in less than 20 minutes. I never saw it coming. Man, I just realized there's some serious issues in our relationship. How long has this been going on? Was I really that blind to not see the signs? Nah, she never gave me a reason to doubt her. Actually, in the last 6 months, she's been more affectionate than ever. Our sex life has been on fire and our bond has gotten stronger. It just doesn't add up, and I can't wrap my head around it. Then Greg starts sending more photos and videos. There's a clip of them dancing with his hand on her butt and another clip. Man, I saw them making out on the dance floor and then saw a pic of them going at it even harder in private on an empty dance floor. They were so into each other they didn't even notice the music had stopped. I knew it was done between us, but I still had a lot to figure out. Being an engineer, I went into problem-solving mode and spent the next few days trying to hash out a plan. Then, out of the blue, Kim called me at 10 p.m. After I saw their latest pic, I had to take a deep breath and try to keep my cool. I wasn't about to let on or show that I knew what she was up to. Hey babe, sorry I missed your call earlier. I was at a dinner meeting and couldn't chat. I miss you loads, baby, and I wish I could be there with you, snuggled up in bed, kissing you all over. I miss you too, Kim. I love you tons. Thanks for calling. The girls are adorable and I'll send you some pics. They are missing their mom. Hey babe, I really want you to come home. I was planning to leave tomorrow, but my boss said I should stay. I hate being away from you. We'll celebrate when you get back. Are you finished for the day? Yeah, I'm just getting ready for bed. Another long day of work tomorrow. Love you, baby. I'll call you tomorrow. Good night, Kim. I love you more than you know. Hangs up phone, tears start flowing. What I said was true, I love her more than anything. I wish this was just a bad dream. It was already after midnight when I finally laid down. I was lying in bed, wide awake, wondering if she was actually in her hotel room and what she was up to. My question was answered when Greg sent me another message. It was a picture of my wife Kim and Jonathan on a couch in what seemed to be a hotel lobby. They were kissing, his hand was sneaking under her short skirt, and her arms were around his neck. They looked like newlyweds, showing off their love in public. Looks like she's gonna be busy, buddy. Let me know if you need anything else. Hey, if you want me to stop, I can end it right now. It's tough to accept, but thanks for the photos. Just let her go, it's all on her. You don't need to be in the middle of it. Thanks again. I cried myself to sleep, heartbroken that the love of my life betrayed me and our marriage vows. Eventually, sleep took away the pain and tears until I woke up the next morning to several loving messages from Kim with hearts, kisses, and emojis. She confessed her love and how much she missed me and the girls. She told me to get ready for a crazy night of sex, but when she came back, she was all sweet and loving like nothing happened. I started to think maybe she has a split personality or was drugged or something. I tried to figure it out, but I knew I had to face reality and get ready for when she came back in a few days. We talked a lot and everything seemed normal. She kept saying how much she missed us and wanted to be with us. I wasn't sure what pissed me off more, the fact that she cheated and was with another guy, or the fact that she cheated and lied. She made me look like an idiot, which hurt just as much as seeing her kiss Jonathan after Greg's messages and finding out that my wife had made me her cuckold. I decided to take action since I was the tech whiz in the family. I added some software to her phone that would let me track it if it ever got lost. I made sure to get the latest software on the market and installed it without her knowing. I showed Kim how to use this software that has a voice recorder for recording voice texts and emails. It also automatically uploads to the cloud if you activate it. Just to be clear, I didn't put this software on my phone to spy on her, but it actually came in handy before last night. I never would have thought to snoop through her stuff, but after last night, my trust has been shaken. I had to protect the girls and try to save our marriage, if it's even possible. Luckily, the girls kept me busy and distracted me from my thoughts. Dealing with my failing marriage, taking care of the twins, making breakfast, cleaning up after them, and playing with dolls was something I really enjoyed and valued. Let me tell you, looking after 3-year-old twins is no joke, it's a real workout. By 2 p.m., I finally got the girls to nap, so I took a quick shower, tidied up the house, and sat down at the table. Kim sent me 6 sweet messages and said she'd call me at 5 p.m. once she's finished for the day. After I read those messages, I hopped on my laptop, accessed the cloud, logged into her account, and checked out all the stuff that had been downloaded since I turned on the spyware. I was stunned when I read the messages she was sending to Jonathan. Here are a couple of them. You were incredible last night, baby. I can't wait to see you again tonight. Thanks, kitten. I enjoyed it too. Can we sneak off to my room after we are done before dinner? Definitely, but I gotta call my husband first. I should be ready by 5:15. Does your hubby have any clue about us? No way, he knows I'm crazy about him and I'll make sure he believes that what we have going on is on the down low. We've been keeping it hush-hush for over 6 months and he's clueless. I know how to keep him in check, so don't stress. I had to stop reading because I was getting so pissed off. Did he call her kitten? That's what I called her when we hooked up. Did she give him that too? Was I really that naive? What a fool I was. I slammed my laptop shut, jumped up, and screamed. I snatched the damn lamp off the table and chucked it at the wall, smashing it to bits. The rage I usually keep in check suddenly consumed me, and I was this close to smashing another lamp when I heard the girls sobbing. Their crying snapped me back to reality, and I quickly got myself together. I went into the bedroom and held both girls close until they stopped crying and settled down. I let them play in the living room while I sat my ass down on a chair with another drink, after cleaning up all the damn glass from the broken lamp. Man, I think the marriage is done. I couldn't stand listening to their talks or looking at those files anymore, so I just let them pile up in the cloud. I figured I'd just go along with Kim like she did with me. I planned to act all sweet and loving while I sorted things out. First step, call a divorce lawyer and a private investigator to figure out how to keep custody. Hey babe, all I can think about is the girls. They miss you so much. Can't wait to give you a big hug and kiss when I get home. You're always on my mind. I love you so much and I can't wait to be back with my sexy wife. I managed to keep it together during the call and it lasted exactly 15 minutes. At 5:15, she hung up the phone and said, I love you, David. I gotta go now, the bus back to the hotel is leaving soon. I'll hit you up later. Love you. Another easy lie to tell, she was really good at it. I said, love you too, baby, more than you'll ever know. But now, the pain from her lies and deceit has turned into contempt, anger, and rage. I was gonna make her pay for what she did. I truly loved her with all my heart, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I met her at So I picked her up from the airport and she hugged and kissed me just like she said she would. I couldn't tell if she was just a good actress or if she genuinely loved me that much, especially since she's just using Jonathan for sex. I was still confused by her behavior. She hung out with the girls for an hour and had a great time with them. That night in bed, she was all over me, telling me how much she missed me and the girls. She hated being away from us for so long and said all she could think about was being with me. Now we are in bed, cuddling and being sweet to each other. She was nothing like the girl I met at the fair that I was crazy about. Being with her made me happy and I wished it could be real because she was all I wanted. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't last. I never told her how I really felt, I just gave her my love and made sure she was happy every night. We looked like the perfect couple to everyone else and they probably envied our relationship. It went on for 3 months, but I started to look for any signs that it was coming to an end. I suspected my wife was cheating, but there was no solid evidence. She came home from work at the usual time every evening, no weird phone calls or texts. I even hoped it was all a misunderstanding and would blow over. Then, a private investigator, Mr. Bryce, called me and set up a meeting for the next day. I went to their office downtown and sat in their conference room. "Good afternoon, David, good to see you again," Mr. Bryce greeted me. "I wish I had nothing to tell you and I wish I could say you were mistaken, but... Hey, I hate to break it to you, but I've got some bad news. Are you ready to see what we found in our investigation?" I sighed and reluctantly said yes, hoping for the best but deep down knowing something fishy was going on between Kim and Jonathan. Mr. Bryce then pulled out a thick leather binder with tabs for text messages, voice transcripts, video calls, phone call transcripts, and photos. He looked at me and said, "Before we get into this, I'm really confused because I've been keeping a close eye on her for the past 3 months and this is... She was the perfect wife and lover, nothing out of the ordinary. Let me break it down for you and see if it all makes sense." I couldn't bear to look at the cloud files anymore because it was breaking my heart. I prayed for the best but that wasn't the case. There were more than 75 pages of texts, 25 pages of emails, and 75 pages of time-stamped photos of them coming and going from hotel rooms together. They had over 82 video calls and 50 pages of phone conversations. Kim and Jonathan have been in. "So, bro, I've been going to this motel like 4 times a week for the past 3 months, right? And every day at 1 p.m. you can see their pics up on the wall. They are spending, like, 2 hours together each time. And get this, for the past month, there have been these 2 dudes visiting your wife 4 times a week. Do you know who they are? Oh shit, is that Jason Sinclair and Theo from her company? Are you telling me she's messing around with both of them? And one of them is the CEO. Damn, hate to break it to you, but from the texts, calls, and videos I've seen, it's pretty clear. So, like, this dude was getting it on with his wife on a video call labeled balcony and someone actually caught them doing the nasty as she was leaning over the railing. They must have thought they were untouchable and didn't realize they were being recorded. Our super high-quality video caught close-ups of their faces and our audio caught everything too. He played the video on an 80-inch screen and there was my wife, Kim, leaning over the railing with her CEO standing behind her. I felt so uncomfortable that I had to leave the room for a few minutes to compose myself. I went back to the conference room and confronted them about it. "Hey man, I gotta tell you something. I saw a video of your wife on balcony 2 with Jason and Jonathan at the same time. I know it sucks, but if you decide to go through with the divorce and custody battle, you can use these videos as evidence." I was in shock when I saw it, couldn't believe it was Kim. I really hope this is all just a big mistake. We did some digging on Jonathan Wills and Jason Sinclair too. So, basically, Jonathan has been hitched for 10 years and has 4 little ones. Mr. Sinclair, on the other hand, has been married for 25 years and has 3 adult children. The text messages show that Jonathan got Jason involved in their little games after his wife mentioned wanting to spice things up with a threesome. It's getting pretty juicy here, so I'll let you dive into it when you're ready. Take the folder and this USB drive with all the files and videos. I'm sure your lawyer will need both. When I showed all this to my lawyer, she was shocked at the sheer amount of stuff. We got all the info we needed and couldn't believe we didn't see any signs of her cheating at home. She still acts all sweet and motherly like nothing's wrong. The lawyer said we got a few options based on the files I gave her. She needed time to figure things out and set up a meeting for next week. I told her to start getting the divorce papers ready ASAP. I left the office feeling sick to my stomach. I knew it was all over even before all this. Man, I had some meetings today, but watching those videos totally killed any chance of making up. I was so confused. I was like, who even is this woman? After the kids went to sleep, we just chilled on the couch and watched this old movie on Netflix called Unfaithful. I heard it was good, so I was like, let's give it a shot. I pressed play, and as the movie was about cheating spouses, I had already planned out what I was gonna say. I told Kim that there's this girl at my office who's been hitting on me for a while now. Can you imagine me with someone else? I was like, woman, I said, laughing, and she gave me this look with narrowed eyes. Really? Who? If I catch you even thinking about being with her, I'll leave you. Understand? You belong to me and no one else, she said with a serious expression on her face. Even though I tried to play it off, she wasn't messing around. She made it crystal clear that she wouldn't tolerate any deception. I couldn't believe how mad she was about it. How hypocritical can one person be? She's getting all worked up about it while she's sleeping with two guys every day. Man, this is unreal, David. Why didn't you tell me about her sooner? What's her name, Kim? Chill out, she's just an intern, a young girl who loves to flirt. I totally ignored her. What about you, Kim? You're the hottest girl in the office. Are you telling me no one flirts with you? Of course not, they all know I'm married and would never cheat on you. So, you're saying in our whole marriage, you never thought about being with another guy or did something like a friendly kiss? Have you ever cheated on me, baby? Now she was really pissed off. Are you joking? Did you really just ask me that? I always tell you how much I love you, I'm always by your side, and I could never even think about being with another guy. You're a jerk. I can't believe you asked me that. I apologized, I agreed with her, and kept watching the movie. I smiled to myself, thinking she should have been an actress because she was so convincing that I even started doubting myself. No wonder she's so good at her job, I thought after things calmed down. Man, she was all up on me again, and I knew it was time. I grabbed my phone, opened up the messaging app, and pulled up a pic of Kim and Jonathan getting cozy on the dance floor. He had his hand right on her butt. I was staring at the photo when she realized I wasn't paying attention. What's up, David? Why aren't you watching the movie, she asked. I replied, because what I'm seeing here is way more real. Confused, she asked, what do you mean? I muted the movie and showed her the pic. She just froze, trying to say something, but nothing came out. Girl, I was just sitting there, staring at the photo, and damn, that kiss you're giving Jonathan is sexy. I gotta know, where did you get that photo from? Apparently, Greg Stanton saw you at dinner with some guy and texted me to confirm if it was really you. And yep, it was you, because he sent me the photo. And can we talk about how hot you look in that dress? I've never seen you in something so short and revealing before. You were definitely trying to impress your boyfriend, huh? You go, girl. I can't wait to hear this explanation, I said as I put the phone back on my lap. We only had one dance and he was drunk. When the song ended, he grabbed me and kissed me. But what you don't know is that right after that, I slapped him and caused a scene. I would never let that happen. I actually bought this dress for a business dinner, but I didn't realize how revealing it was until now. I'm so sorry. Oh, I understand that these things can happen, and that was the only time it happened. I could tell she wasn't as confident as she seemed. So, like, things were normal and I was like, yeah, baby, and he promised he wouldn't do it again. The movie kept playing and I just leaned back, staying quiet. I could tell Kim was worried. After a bit, I grabbed my phone and started watching a video of them on the couch, my hand up her skirt. She looked at me all scared and was like, what are you watching now? Remember that night you called me, saying you had a rough day and were getting ready for bed? Yeah, well, turns out I got another text from Greg 2 hours after you did. So, I called her and this time it was a video. Do you want to see this? She asked as I hit play. It was clear as day, Jonathan kissing her and getting a little handsy, exploring her secret spots that were supposed to be just for me. I can't wait to hear your explanation, I said, smiling. My anger was gone, replaced by pure contempt and amusement at her reaction. Oh my God, David, I'm so sorry, she said after we hung up. Jonathan then called saying we needed to talk about a problem with one of the clients we were meeting with. Hey, in the morning he told me to go down to the lobby to get ready for the meeting. Honestly, I barely remember that video because I had a few drinks and got pretty wasted. You know how I get when I'm drunk. I know the video looks sketchy, but nothing actually happened after that. I clearly remember going back to my room, telling him to stop because I'm happily married, and then I left. You gotta believe me, that's the issue here, kitten, I said, really emphasizing the name kitten. I saw her blink when I said that, and I carried on. The problem is that I've always trusted you. Hey, in the past 20 minutes you lied to me twice. Can't you see it from my perspective? I'm feeling really alone and the love of my life is seen kissing her boss in 2 photos, wearing the sexiest outfit she's ever worn. How do you think that makes me feel, baby? David, I love you, but this happened 3 months ago, why didn't you mention it earlier? Honestly, I was waiting to see if you would come clean on your own. I wanted to believe that my wife was as honest and open as we've always been with each other. But now I see how things really are between us. You're not lying about anything else, are you? Are you cheating on me with him? Do you love him now? I was just messing around with her, enjoying her confusion and acting. She started crying and kept telling me how much she loved me. Kim, please stop saying you love me so much. I'm sure you love me and I still love you, but that doesn't have anything to do with those photos. I need to know why and if there's anything else you're lying about, I said, pressing the record button on the phone without her knowing. David, listen to me, nothing. Yeah, so it happened. I think I kissed him like you saw, but that was it. Every time I told him to stop, I'm not sure what Greg saw or told you, but you have to believe me, okay? Stop crying, baby. I believe you. However, I'm confused by the way you were dressed. I mean, you never wear anything like that for me, and you never do your hair and makeup like that either. Did you do this for him? You haven't answered my question. Do you love him? Do you want to leave me for him? Kim, please, I need to know the truth. The sobs resumed. No, David, I love only you. I never. Hey, I don't know why I was dressed like that, it's not like me at all. Maybe it's because all the other ladies were dressed up and I wanted to look good too. I was feeling a bit unsure of myself, you know. I get it, but why didn't you tell me about you and Jonathan being close? Nothing actually happened and I shut it down. I didn't want to upset you, he's my boss and I can't risk losing my job over anything that might happen. Yo, so some real shit went down. I'd tell you right away, but you know, I kissed her and held her while she cried. It was just the start of a whole month of me getting back at her. That night we hooked up and damn, she's got some skills. I acted all cool like I was just another one of her flings, but I wasn't about to pass up on that body. The way she acted was impressive, but at that point, I didn't give a damn. She was more into it than ever, trying to persuade me that I was the one. She was totally into him. It went on for a few weeks. Every night, she was killing it with her acting, and I was just loving the show. The next morning, I checked her phone to see if she was messaging Jonathan, and of course, she didn't disappoint. Oh my God, someone took pictures of us at the fair and sent them to David. His friend was at the restaurant and saw me there without David. I'm not sure if he knows, but the video showed us kissing. Holy, now that you mention it, I remember some guy with a phone across from us watching. I don't know what was going on, but I didn't think anything like that. What did David do? Nothing. I convinced him that nothing happened and stopped you. He has no idea that I spent the night in your room. I convinced him it was just the alcohol and made things right. He's easy to convince. A few kisses and good sex is all I ever needed to give him. Be careful, baby. We agreed to meet tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon as usual. Can't wait, it's been too long. I love you, baby. I love you too, kitten. This was the last message. I was just sitting there thinking about everything. Yeah, I know I was a total idiot for trusting that person, but hey, revenge is sweet. I went through some tough times, but I made sure to have some fun watching Kim's lies unfold. First things first, I sorted out my finances, transferred funds, closed accounts, you name it. I left my main Visa card open, but lowered the limit to $2,500 to avoid any further damage. Kim had no clue how mad I was, she never saw it coming. I told my lawyer that since I owned the house before we got married, I wouldn't have to move out once she was served. I made sure to send a savage email with videos, texts, and photos to all her friends, family, and co-workers. I even made copies of the evidence for her friends to see. I'm gonna drop it all at once when everyone is notified and lawsuits are filed. I told my lawyer to get ready for battle. So I decided to sue both Jonathan, the dude who's in charge, and Jason, the big shot CEO of the company. Since the company was one of the biggest tech companies on the East Coast, my lawyer was super excited to get the CEO involved. We were gonna make them a deal before we spilled the beans about how the CEO and his managers were creeping on their employees. We teamed up with some child protection lawyers to get full custody of the kiddos and got all the paperwork ready for the investigation in the coming weeks. Everything was chill, we were all good with the kids and hanging out together like always. We went out to eat and talked about everything, but we totally ignored the obvious issue. I'm sure my lack of talking about it drove her nuts, not knowing what was going on in my head. So I decided to mess around a bit with Kim and asked her, "Hey, did your boss do anything to you after that event? Got any juicy gossip from your talks with Jonathan?" I knew they were still meeting up at the hotel every day. I couldn't believe how easily she lied, it was actually kind of funny to see her reaction. Now I can totally tell when she's about to lie. She just casually said no, nothing at all. It's weird because we both just act like nothing happened when really nothing did happen. He was just doing his job professionally and we hardly even talk because we're both so busy with work. I just sat there with a smug smile, still shocked that the mother of my kids and the love of my life could lie to me like that. Man, that night I let out all the anger I had pent up inside me. I confronted her and really went for it that night. "Oh man, David, what got into you? You were on fire, I've never seen you so bold and unrestrained." I actually kinda liked it, even though it was a total nightmare. I knew it would be the last time before all hell broke loose tomorrow, so I was gonna make the most of it with my soon-to-be ex-wife. And then the sheriff showed up at Tricom International and asked for Mr. A few minutes later, Sheriff Clark walked into Sinclair's office and gave him an envelope. "Mr. Sinclair, you've been served," he said. Sinclair was left alone in his office, feeling scared after reading the complaint for the third time. He quickly told his secretary to bring Jason to his office. As the secretary called Jason, he was just getting served his complaint by the sheriff. Jason rushed into Sinclair's office and they both looked shocked and confused. "What the hell, how did this happen, Jason? If my wife finds out about this, I'll be screwed. It's your fault, you said this would never leave us. You better fix this, Jason, or I swear I'll wreck you and your family, got it?" Sinclair was a tough guy, not someone to mess with. He was a ruthless street guy who climbed his way to the top of this billion-dollar organization and wasn't backing down. Jonathan ran out of his office, waited for the elevator to go down to the 12th floor, and talked to Kim. So, this dude was walking down the hall to Kim's office when he spotted the sheriff heading towards him from the other way. He figured the sheriff must have come from Kim's direction, so he dashed into her office. There she was, sitting at her desk, bawling her eyes out. She was a mess, couldn't even talk. Turns out, David had just messed up her life like she did to him months ago. It took her forever to calm down enough to talk, and even then she could barely put a sentence together. "Kim, what the heck happened? How did he find out? Wait, what do you mean? I just got served with divorce papers. What do you mean by us? Sinclair and I are also being sued and facing a civil lawsuit for what happened. We don't know what evidence he has, but there must be more to it than just the 2 images you saw. You have to make David back down, or else Sinclair will ruin us and my family. Oh my God, this is terrible. Go talk to him and make him see reason. Do whatever it takes to stop this. Go home and handle this situation. Give me a ring tonight if you can and fill me in on what's happening." Kim packed up her stuff, still all shook up, and drove home. The guy she loved, her hubby and the dad of her kids, was talking about splitting up. She didn't want that at all and really cared for David, but she couldn't help feeling the need for some sexual excitement that she couldn't resist. She had to make David see that she couldn't bear losing him over this. She got back to an empty house. The girls were over at David's sister's place like they always were in the afternoons. Kim did both jobs. She rang up David's sis and asked if she could ditch the kids for the night. She didn't ask why, but Katie was cool with having the girls over for the night. Kim showered, did her hair and makeup, and waited for David to get back from work. At 6 o'clock, she heard the garage door open and anxiously waited for him to come in. "Hey Kim, I didn't think I'd see you tonight. I figured you'd be with Jonathan." "Oh, wait, he's hitched and his kids. This is gonna be awkward. David, let's chat." She grabbed his hand and plopped him down on the couch next to her. She looked surprisingly well-dressed and way nicer than usual when she saw him. He saw this coming and kept playing along. "David, I found out today, but I don't want a divorce. I need you and I love you. I won't sign those papers. Jonathan doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah, we hooked up, but it wasn't love. I just needed it, and I'm really sorry. I won't do it again, I promise. Can you promise me that? I think I can trust you. You know what? Yeah, I'll just forget about everything and we can go back to normal," I said with a loving smile. Kim grabbed me and kissed me. "Thank you, baby. I love you so much. I'm glad you forgive me and understand. I'll never lie to you again." I was surprised. I was sure she knew I was being sarcastic. I pulled back and pushed her away. "You're crazy, woman. I can never trust you again after all your lies and deceit. There's nothing left. I gave you so many chances, but you keep on lying. Seriously, you think you can just deceive me and mess up our lives like that? I've caught on to your little lunch dates at the hotel with your bosses. Did you really think I'd forgive you after all that? Have you even stopped to think about the damage you're causing to those girls? I can't just turn a blind eye to this. And why are you going after Sinclair and Jonathan? Oh right, because your little buddies are also the CEOs of a huge company worth billions. Well, once I dump your sorry ass, I'm gonna need some money to take care of the girls properly since they are partly your responsibility. Yo, for wrecking my marriage and screwing up my life, I'm gonna wreck them too. I'm gonna mess up their family, ruin them financially, and treat them like they treated you." Kim had never heard David speak like that before, and she had never seen him so pissed off and determined. The seriousness of the situation finally hit her, and she realized she was no longer in charge of the situation or her husband. All she could do now was plead, so with tears in her eyes and on her knees, she grabbed David's legs and begged for forgiveness. David actually felt bad for her. He was mad, but he powered through it and brought her to the couch. In a calm voice, David talked to Kim like she was a kid. "Listen, Kim, you gotta pack your stuff and go stay at your mom's for a bit. Get a lawyer and we can talk about everything later. Oh, and just a heads up, I suggest you steer clear of Jason and Jonathan, shit's about to hit the fan." That night at her mom's place, she told her about the fight she had with David. Had to go see her at 11 p.m. that night. She called Jonathan on his cell phone and he told her to wait. Then he conference called in Jason. "Jason, are you there? Kim, are you there?" Yes, we're here." Sinclair started talking and asked Kim if she convinced him to drop the lawsuits and divorce. "No, he actually kicked me out and threatened me." Sinclair yelled into the phone, "Jesus Christ, Jonathan, what did you do?" "Kim, you're screwed, I swear." Kim was freaking out, saying that her family would straight up kill her and Jonathan if they found out about this mess. She was pleading for it to stop, but she said that dude is off the rails and won't listen to anything she says. He won't even pick up her calls or texts, according to Claire. Claire was like, "Jonathan, you gotta sort this out. Make an appointment with David and tell him to meet us at a loud bar. Kim, you better show up too. We'll all be there and you ask him to drop the lawsuit in front of us. If he says no, then Jonathan and I will step in and explain the situation. It's gonna be really bad for him and his fam if he doesn't chill out. I got people who can sort this out, and I'll have them handle it to stop this mess from getting worse. Jonathan, you got it." "Yeah, Mr. Sinclair." "Kim, you know what to do, right?" Yeah, Mr. Sinclair. Get it done by tomorrow afternoon, no time to waste. Make the appointment tomorrow. Sinclair vanished. Kim and Jonathan hung up after a few minutes thinking it over. That night when David heard the call, he wasn't shocked by how desperate they sounded. He already had a plan in mind. Sure enough, Jonathan called him the next morning and wanted to meet up to talk things out. He told David to meet him in the courtyard at 6 p.m. David agreed, and at 4 o'clock sharp, he headed over. He was chilling in his detective office getting ready to link up with Jonathan. They were using some fancy tech with noise cancellation to hone in on voice frequencies and get clear audio even in loud places. A private eye was also there to record the meeting as a backup. David walked in at 6:15 on the dot, making them wait and giving the PI some time to set up his camera. David spotted Kim and went over to the crew, saying, "Kim, I'm surprised to see you here with. So, you guys are the ones dating my girl, but I think we all know where your loyalty lies, fellas. What do you want from me? Why are we meeting here?" David spoke up, "I'm Jason, and I requested this meeting." "Sinclair, you look way different in person, these videos don't do you justice. Can't say I'm happy to meet you." "Yeah, that's exactly why we are here. This is Jonathan, the guy who slept with my wife and ruined my marriage. Can't say I'm happy to meet any of you." Sinclair chimed in, "I don't blame you for that. Man, you're fuming. If I were in your shoes, I wouldn't even know what to do. But hey, we gotta talk about this. What's on your mind?" David said. "We need you to drop those lawsuits you slapped on me, Jonathan, and the rest of the crew. Pretty funny, right?" "Oh, sorry, but I can't let this slide. Someone's gotta pay for taking away the love of my life." David looked over at Kim. "She's the only woman I've ever loved and the mother of my kids. I can't even picture life without her." Kim started crying as she realized the mess she had caused. "Yo, what's it gonna take for you to end this drama and bring Kim back? Tell me your price." "First off, no amount of cash can make me forgive her for betraying me, breaking my trust, and messing with our kids just for a party with you clowns. That ain't happening. I'll drop the lawsuits if you meet my 2 conditions: give me $5 mil and let me meet your wives and Kim so she can confess to her mess. Deal or no deal? If you agree to these 2 conditions, I'll stop doing business with you, David. I'll give you $100,000, but you have to promise not to tell anyone about it." Sinclair whispered, "I can't risk my family's safety. If they find out, David, I'll have to take drastic measures. Kim spilled the beans on your daily routine, so making you vanish wouldn't be a problem. Let's make a deal." David was surprised when he saw David smirking and taking a sip of his drink. "All right, I can lower the amount to $4 million, but your family's. I can't believe what you did, Sinclair. You're an idiot. David, you're basically screwing yourself over. Seriously, think about it and drop the charges. Take Kim back, it was just a fling. We can sort this out." David grabbed his phone and sent 2 texts, then opened his email and sent an email with all the evidence he had gathered. He made sure all the videos, images, and messages were sent to Kim's friends, family, and co-workers. The 2 texts he sent were to the guys waiting in front of Jason and Jonathan. The message said the house was waiting for his instructions. Deliver the package. Within minutes, Mrs. Sinclair and Mrs. Wells now had duplicate 3-ring folders with all the photos, videos, messages, phone calls, and evidence of their affair. Sinclair started to get angry and shouted at David for not paying attention. "What the, David? I'm talking to you. What are you going to say? Will you drop the charges? My answer to you, Jason, Jonathan, and my wife is go to hell." Just then, Jason and Jonathan's phones rang. Both of their wives were on the phone. I saw Sinclair's face go red and he gave me some serious stink eye. Jonathan looked like he was about to cry, and Kim asked me what the heck was happening. I told her to check her email in a bit and she'll figure it out. Sinclair slammed the phone down, got all up in my face, and yelled that I was toast. He threatened to cut my throat and watch me kick the bucket like a dog. Then he stormed out of the bar. Jonathan just looked at me and asked, "Why? Why did this happen? I can't believe you did this to me." I was shocked when he asked something so dumb. You really used my wife, who is everything to me and the mother of my twin girls, for the past 6 months and arranged for her to have a threesome with Sinclair. And now you're acting surprised that someone retaliated. Every message I sent to your innocent wife was just to show her what a creepy predator you are and how many lives you've messed up. Kim's phone started blowing up with calls from her sister, brother, and aunt just minutes later, and they all saw the mess you caused. Man, she found those videos and photos and started grilling me with a ton of questions. She acted clueless at first, but then she checked her email and her jaw literally dropped. She gave me this angry look and said, "How could you do this to me?" She said it's over between us and threatened to take legal action. She even mentioned giving an audio recording of our meeting to the police and social services. Her lawyer is already convinced she'll get full custody of the girls. Looks like I might end up in jail. Damn, sorry Kitty. Hey, Kitty, that's what I call you, the name you shared with your hookup in bed. I know everything, princess, and now you gotta pay up to keep this from going public. Tricom settled by giving David Hunter $2 million. Jason Sinclair got fired as CEO with no severance for breaking his contract's morals clause, losing over $10 million in stocks and a $5 million severance deal. He's also doing time for conspiracy to commit murder and other charges. After they dug into his shady business deals, Sinclair's wife dumped him while he was locked up and cleaned him out financially. When he gets out of prison, he'll be broke, homeless, and all alone. Hearing this news actually cheered up David, making him crack a smile for the first time in ages. Mrs. Wills also ditched Jonathan, leaving him with nothing, no cash, no crib, no child support, and no half of his paycheck in alimony. On top of that, he got slapped with a $1 million fine in a civil trial for being a sneaky cheater and for making David and Kim lose their love for each other. After getting married, he lost his job and now he's just doing odd jobs for a living. David was still feeling good about getting back at someone when he found out what happened to Jonathan. He had to declare bankruptcy and ended up living under a bridge where the De La Boers hung out. Oddly enough, this made David happy and he found himself smiling more often. Kim got sent to prison for 5 years, but with David's help, her sentence got reduced to just 1 year of house arrest and 4 years of probation for plotting something illegal. She didn't win her case in the end. The kids and David have full custody now because of all the evidence against her. She couldn't pull off getting custody in the divorce since the house was David's, so she was left with nowhere to go. She used to make the same amount as David before she got fired, so there's no child support coming in. Kim ended up in a major funk and now she's holed up in her mom's basement. The fam turned their backs on her for what she did, leading to her losing visitation rights with the kids. The email I sent with the video and pics showed a whole other side of Kim that no one saw coming. The plan worked and totally screwed over the Kim family's backup. No one can forgive Kim, not even herself. She's on meds because she tried to off herself 3 times. She's been in and out of nut houses for the past 6 months and can't forgive herself for all the people she screwed over. David now spends all his time with the girls, not having to work since the divorce lets him focus on his kids. The kids haven't seen their mom since she tried to kill herself, but they have. With David's sister and mom by his side, the girls will be okay and this messed up situation won't mess them up in the long run. Getting back at Kim felt good, but it didn't fix all the pain she caused. He still cared about her and let go of the anger, but the memory of what she did will always be there. Taking care of the girls kept him busy and distracted from feeling alone because of all the lies and betrayal. It's gonna take a while before David can trust and love again. It's crazy how small things can have a big impact on so many people. Just gotta be careful and watch out for yourself. Switch to our channel so your side piece doesn't double-cross you, and keep listening for the next story because it's way juicier than this one. If you're not old enough, don't even try to tune into the next one.